My name is Ethan Miller. I'm 32, a structural engineer in Seattle. I design office towers and bridges that stay standing when storms come. My life has always been built on plans, not luck. I like schedules, order and coffee strong enough to melt stress. My dad was a contractor who taught me to measure twice, cut once. He believed doing things right the first time saved you heartbreak later. That rule shaped everything I did. Work, finances, relationships. I wasn't flashy, but I was steady. I owned a small townhouse, a used truck, and a golden retriever named Max. I thought that was enough. Until I met Sophie Carter. She was 29, a marketing specialist at a downtown tech firm. Ambitious, confident, always dressed like she had somewhere important to be. We met at a friend's wedding in the mountains. She laughed at one of my awkward jokes about the centerpieces. That laugh changed everything. We danced, talked for hours, and she gave me her number before dessert. From our first date, we connected fast. She liked that I was stable, that I had my life together. I liked that she made everything feel alive. We spent weekends hiking or trying new restaurants around the city. She told me her dream was to run her own agency someday. I told her I just wanted to build something that lasted. For a long time, we were perfect opposites in balance. She brought color into my structured life. I gave her calm when work got chaotic. After a year and a half, she moved into my place. We split utilities, but I paid the mortgage. She filled the rooms with plants, candles, and late-night laughter. For a while, I thought I'd found the person I'd grow old with. My friends loved her. Even my mom said Sophie had spark. But somewhere in year 2, the tone shifted. Sophie started teasing me about being too comfortable. She said I never chased excitement. That I was content while everyone else was chasing dreams. I told her peace wasn't laziness. She smiled, but her eyes disagreed. She wanted more thrill, more progress, more attention. Work became her world. She stayed late, joined networking dinners, and always mentioned new names. One name came up again and again, Ryan Clark. At first, I thought he was just another coworker. But the way she said his name carried admiration. Ryan had just been promoted, started consulting, had big plans. I noticed how her voice changed when she talked about him. Excitement, energy, something I hadn't seen in months. I told myself I was imagining it. But when someone you love starts glowing over someone else, you feel it. Still, I stayed patient. I thought the phase would pass. I believed in the foundation we built. Measure twice, cut once. But sometimes, even solid structures hide invisible cracks. And before you realize it, everything begins to shift. Ryan's name became part of our daily life. Sophie mentioned him in casual stories, then in every conversation. Ryan landed a big account. Ryan took his team out for drinks. Ryan had ideas that could change the industry. At first, I listened politely, thinking it was just workplace admiration. But admiration turned into fascination. She quoted him like a mentor, laughed about his jokes, repeated his advice. Her eyes sparkled when she said his name. I hadn't seen that sparkle when she looked at me in months. I told myself not to be jealous. I trusted her. But my best friend Chris didn't. He noticed how often she mentioned Ryan. "Man, that's not normal," he said one night over beers. When someone talks about another guy every day, it means something. I laughed it off, but his words stayed with me. Once a seed of doubt is planted, it grows fast. Sophie began working late more often. She blamed deadlines and client emergencies. Her phone, once left face up, was now always face down. She smiled at her screen, typing fast, then locked it when I walked in. Classic signs, I know. But I'm an engineer. I don't assume, I verify. Still, something in my gut whispered that this wasn't just work. I tried to talk to her. "Babe, you've been staying late a lot," I said gently one night. She didn't look up from her laptop. It's the Thompson project. It's huge. I get that. I just miss having dinner together. She sighed like I'd asked her to quit her job. Not everyone can clock out at 5, Ethan. Some of us have ambition. That cut deep. I worked hard too, maybe harder. But in her eyes, my stability had turned into weakness. After that, something cracked between us. We still lived together, but the warmth was gone. She came home late smelling like wine and hotel soap. She talked about company events I wasn't invited to. When she laughed at her texts, I stopped asking why. I knew the answer. Chris noticed the change in me. You're quieter, he said. Because I don't like what I see, I replied. He shook his head. Don't be the guy who ignores red flags. I smiled, pretending not to care. But inside, I already knew the truth. Ryan wasn't just a name anymore. He was the storm gathering around my quiet little life. And Sophie, my Sophie, was standing right in the middle of it. The late nights kept coming. The distance grew wider. She stopped asking about my projects, stopped sharing hers. Two lived still under one roof, but no longer connected. I started walking Max longer at night, just to avoid the silence. Sometimes, I'd pass her car, still parked at work hours after dark. The same spot. The same building. And I'd wonder how long it would take before the truth finally collapsed. The pressure started small. Sophie began dropping hints about rings and weddings. She'd pause at jewelry stores, staring at displays with glassy eyes. She'd comment on friends, engagements with that wistful tone. Her Pinterest boards filled with white dresses and mountain venues. At first it was cute. I thought she was just daydreaming. But then the tone shifted. The hints became demands. She started asking when I'd be ready. I told her soon. I meant it. I had already bought the ring, a platinum band with a simple diamond. It sat hidden in my desk, waiting for our anniversary trip. But Sophie didn't know that. She wanted answers now. One night, an engagement commercial came on TV. She turned to me, smiling too sweetly. Wouldn't it be nice if that were us? She asked. I nodded. It will be someday. She frowned. Someday, we've been together 3 years. I explained my logic again. I wanted to wait until we'd lived together a full year. Make sure everything was solid before marriage. She rolled her eyes. You plan everything like a project schedule. Life doesn't work that way. I stayed calm, but inside I was tired. Tired of defending patience like it was a flaw. I told her love should be built slowly, like a strong foundation. She said love should be bold, fearless, impulsive. We argued for hours, voices low but sharp. When she finally left for her friend's place that night, I just sat there. The ring box felt heavier than ever. She came home the next morning like nothing happened. But something between us had cracked. Dinner became silent. Our conversations turned into transactions. Then, she started comparing again. Ryan says you have to take risks if you want real success. Ryan thinks men who hesitate lose everything. Every time she said his name, I felt a slow burn behind my ribs. I wanted to yell, but I didn't. Engineers don't yell, they calculate. Still, love isn't math. The more she pushed, the more distance she built. I knew she was slipping away, piece by piece. Sometimes, I'd watch her scroll through wedding photos online. She looked lost in some fantasy that didn't include me anymore. I wanted to tell her about the ring, about the trip, about how much I still believed in us. But pride kept me silent. And maybe fear too. Because deep down, I sensed she'd already made a decision. Not about marriage. About replacement. She didn't want a partner, she wanted proof. A shiny symbol she could flaunt. And when I didn't hand it over on her timeline, she looked elsewhere. I still remember the way she said it one night. I just don't want to waste time. That was when I knew time was exactly what we were running out of. The ultimatum came on a Thursday night. I was finishing a project at the office when my phone buzzed. A text from Sophie. "If you don't propose by tonight, I'm leaving you for Ryan." I stared at the screen, thinking it had to be a joke. It was. There was no emoji, no softness, just pure finality. 3 years together, and she gave me a deadline like a business deal. By tonight. As if love had an expiration time. I leaned back in my chair, heart steady but cold. This wasn't emotion, it was strategy. She wanted to force my hand, to trap me in a corner. Either I proposed under pressure, or lost her to someone else. She must have assumed I wasn't ready. She didn't know about the ring. She didn't know I had planned to propose in 2 weeks. But this wasn't love anymore. It was manipulation. I typed one line back. "Ryan from your office." Her reply came instantly. "Yes, he actually knows what he wants." I felt a strange calm settle in. Like the final piece of a puzzle, snapping into place. I typed again. "Ryan Clark, from marketing." "Yes, why?" "The one who's married." There was a long pause. Then bubbles appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "What are you talking about?" I opened LinkedIn and found Ryan's profile. Married to Emily Clark, HR manager at the same company. A smiling family photo filled his banner. I screenshotted it and sent it to Sophie. "Check for yourself," I wrote. My phone started ringing within seconds. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. Then came the texts. "Answer me. This isn't what it looks like. He said he was divorced. Please pick up." I turned on Do Not Disturb and went back to my calculations. I worked until the numbers blurred, then packed my laptop. The office was quiet, except for the hum of fluorescent lights. Driving home, I didn't feel heartbreak. Just clarity. The kind of silence that comes after an earthquake. At home, Max wagged his tail like nothing was wrong. I grilled the salmon I'd bought for dinner and ate in peace. Her messages kept flooding in: panic, denial, guilt. Each one a different phase of regret. I read none of them. Instead, I sat on the couch, watching the city lights flicker outside. One text had ended everything, but it also freed me. No more guessing, no more pretending. Sophie had made her choice, and it had imploded instantly. By midnight, she was still calling. I turned off my phone completely. Some endings don't need words. Just silence. By Friday morning, everything was chaos. My phone showed 60 missed texts and 20 calls from Sophie. Each message more desperate than the last. I didn't answer a single one. I made coffee, walked Max, and went to work. Around noon, an unknown number flashed on my phone. I answered out of curiosity. "Ethan Miller," a woman's voice said. "This is Emily Clark." So Ryan's wife. Her tone was sharp, calm, and burning underneath. "I know about the affair," she said flatly. "He finally admitted it last night." I stayed quiet. She continued. "I found your number through company records. Sophie gave my husband an ultimatum yesterday. That's when he confessed everything." I almost laughed at the irony. "She gave me the same ultimatum," I said. Emily exhaled, slow and bitter. "She didn't even know he was married, did she?" "Apparently not," I said. "Well, she's going to find out the hard way." Emily thanked me for confirming the details. Then her tone changed, colder, professional. "I'm filing for divorce and reporting them both to HR. They used company funds for personal trips, dinners, hotels. I have receipts, messages, everything. Anything you can send me would help." I forwarded every message where Sophie mentioned Ryan. Every late-night meeting, every client dinner. By Monday morning, the storm hit full force. The company fired both of them. Security escorted them out in front of everyone. LinkedIn exploded with cryptic posts about integrity and ethics. People whispered about expense fraud and secret affairs. Sophie's entire career disintegrated in 48 hours. Her calls turned emotional, her texts frantic. I didn't know he was married. He lied to me. Please talk to me. I ignored them all. By the weekend, I packed up her things. Clothes, shoes, skincare bottles, everything labeled neatly in boxes. I left them in the garage for her to collect. Chris came over to help. He cracked jokes while we worked. And here goes the $400 candle she never lit. It made me laugh for the first time in days. When I found the ring box in my drawer, I paused. The diamond still caught the light beautifully. 2 months of saving, now just a reminder. I locked it in my safe and kept packing. By Sunday evening, the house felt new again. Quiet, clean, lighter somehow. No more tension humming in the air. Just peace. I sat on the porch with a beer, Max at my feet. Sophie's car never showed up. She must have known there was nothing left to say. Her final text came that night. I made a mistake, please forgive me. I didn't reply. Some lessons come with no second chances. And some foundations, once cracked, are never rebuilt. 3 weeks passed before I saw her again. I was loading groceries into my truck when she appeared. Sophie looked nothing like the woman I once knew. Her hair was messy, her clothes plain, her eyes red. Ethan, please, she said, voice trembling. Just give me 5 minutes. I closed the trunk slowly and faced her. You've got 5, I said. She took a shaky breath. I lost everything. My job, my apartment, my friends. Ryan lied to me about everything. He used me. I was stupid, but I never stopped loving you. Can we start over? Her words hung in the air, desperate and heavy. I looked at her carefully, really seeing her. The woman who once sparkled with confidence was now broken. But sympathy isn't the same as forgiveness. You didn't make a mistake, Sophie, I said quietly. You made choices, repeatedly. You had an affair, you lied. You gave me an ultimatum. That's not confusion, that's calculation. Tears filled her eyes. I was scared of losing time, of missing my chance. Ryan made me feel seen. I thought he cared. I shook my head. He made you feel excited. That's not love. What we had was real until you destroyed it. I was going to propose in 2 weeks. Her eyes widened. You had a ring. Had, I said. Past tense, I returned it. She stepped closer, reaching for my hand. I stepped back. The only reason you're here now is because your plan failed. You're not here out of love. You're here because you have nowhere else to go. Her shoulders shook as she cried. I've been punished enough, haven't I? Can't we move past this? I'm sorry, Sophie. You're living the result of your actions, not my revenge. Actions have consequences. That's just life. She wiped her face, voice breaking. I thought you'd fight for me. I did, I said, for 3 years. But love isn't supposed to be a battlefield. I was ready to spend my life with you. You're the one who ended it, not me. She stared at me for a long time, eyes hollow. So that's it. Yes, I said, that's it. I need to get home. My ice cream is melting. I opened my truck door and climbed in. She whispered something I couldn't hear as I drove away. I didn't look back. Later that night, I sat on my porch with Max beside me. The city lights shimmered quietly, distant and calm. For the first time in months, I felt peace instead of pain. No more pretending. No more waiting for someone to change. Sometimes losing someone is the only way to save yourself. And that night, I finally felt free. Months passed, and the storm finally settled. Emily divorced Ryan and won everything. Full custody, the house, the savings, even his reputation. Ryan moved into his parents' basement, unemployed and forgotten. Sophie tried, rebuilding her life in another city. She changed her last name, told people she wanted a fresh start. She never mentioned the affair, or the fraud, or the ultimatum. I didn't care anymore. My world was quiet again. I focused on work, hiked on weekends, and spent evenings with Max. The townhouse felt lighter, like it had finally exhaled. No more hidden tension, no more unspoken guilt. Sometimes, I'd think about how close I came to marrying her. One more week, and I would have been trapped in disaster. Funny how life saves you at the last second. One message destroyed 3 lives, but gave mine back. Now I live by one truth. Foundations don't fail because of pressure. They fail because of weak design. And when you build love, you better build it right. Because once it collapses, you can never rebuild it the same.